Everybody, happy Saturday. I'm Missi Matthews. Welcome to the training camp wrap-up show presented by UPMC Health Plan. Craig Wolfley is on desk with me as well, and we want to go down to the field to talk to, I think, our first rookie of training camp post-practice. That would be Payton Wilson. Thanks so much for your time. You guys weren't in pads today, but we want to rewind a little bit and go back to last night, Friday Night Lights. A new experience for you, but just talk about the physicality that was on display by both units.
Yeah, I mean, it was first and foremost, I just want to thank the city of Latrobe. It was an amazing experience. I don't think I've ever been a part of anything like that, but yeah, I mean, it was exciting, and it started off with backers on backs. I mean, we were getting after it, and it kind of just fed into practice. Wanted to give the fans a good show, but at the end of the day, just iron sharpening iron, and that's what we're here to do. So.
Peyton, it's awesome because you get into that element with the crowd and everything else, and maintaining composure is a big thing. And certainly one of the exciting moments is when you step up and you are center in the midst of that maelstrom. I mean, it's really kind of wild. What were you thinking as you took your position, you go up and you just have at it with somebody? It was quite an experience, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an experience. I mean, it was definitely cool to be out there in front of 15,000, but we play every Sunday and before every Saturday in front of a lot more people. So if you're not able to keep your composure in front of just the people that were out there last night, how are you going to be able to do it on Sunday? So I think it's a great introduction, just, getting you ready for preseason and then on into the season.
What happens when a guy like Patrick Queen, a Landon Roberts start going at Najee Harris and Jalen Warren and vice versa to really intensify that backs on backers drill and maybe the rest of practice?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, just kind of shows you, what this team's made of. Best on best going at it as, hard as they possibly can every single day. And, it's really cool to see guys like that going at it because you know that you have the right to go as hard as you possibly can and compete as hard as you possibly can against the best. So it's really cool. I say it all the time. I think Patrick Queen and E-Rob are two of the best in the game. So just to see the way that they practice and compete is truly special.
I got to ask you, Peyton, I mean, how is it at working as an inside linebacker? Because there's a lot of shiny things going on. You got pre-snap, you got post-snap, you got a lot of things going on. How hard is it to keep focused eyes on the job at hand, especially when the ferociousness sometimes of what's going on in your line of business is quite huge, I would say?
Yeah, I mean, I have to personally credit Coach Aaron Curry, Coach AC, just, the way that he coaches and the way that he slows the game down. He lets backers be backers. You're not a robot on the field. You're able to see what you see and able to fly around. So I have to credit him and Coach TA with the defense that they've installed and just, continuing to let us play free, but also, making sure that we understand our job. But at the end of the day, the person who has the ball is who need to get tackled, so that's what we're here for.
In terms of Justin Fields, somebody you guys get to go against a lot throughout this training camp, and there was a tackling drill where you were going against him. Can you take us through that and just what maybe he has helped improve your game by going against a quarterback that runs like he does?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually pretty crazy to see. I mean, I've always known Justin was fast, but as fast as he is, it's kind of shocking a little bit. It's awesome because obviously the people that we're going to play this year, we're going to have a lot of mobile quarterbacks, so it's really good to go up against that every single day and just, it adds another aspect to it. You can't just sit back in coverage and just, let the D-line eat. You got to be able to sit back and contain the quarterback. So just, having him and Russ, just mobile guys that are able to help us work on things like that is super important.
Now, what do you like about pass coverage? I mean, is it something you find very comfortable, or is that a part of your game that you feel like, I got to work a little more on? Tell me about the strengths and weaknesses of what you see you fit in as the inside linebacker guy.
Yeah, I mean, I like to look at myself as a three-down backer. Whatever Coach AC, Coach TA, Coach Tomlin asks me to do, I'm going to take that role and run with it 100%. I mean, there's definitely things that I can continue to work on in my coverage, but for me, it's mano-y-mano, This guy's running a route, and I got to cover him, so let's see who's better and more athletic. And at the end of the day, that's my job that I got to do, and, I'm going to do it with 110% and compete as hard as I can.
You had told us earlier in camp that you have a very specific pre-warm-up routine that you do before you even get down to the field to warm up with the team and practice. Is there anything you've picked up along the way, maybe from vets or even fellow rookies, that's now something that you're starting to use?
Yeah, one of the best pros, I mean, obviously I haven't been here very long, but one of the best pros I've ever seen in my life is Mika Fitzpatrick. The way he prehabs and rehabs for practice is something like I've never seen. And, I started watching him back in OTAs, and, he was the first one in, the last one out. And, that's kind of something that I've just taken from him, and I'm actually in the locker room with him. So just, being able to pick his brain, pick guys like TJ, and just, hey, what is that you're taking? How do you do this when you get in the tubs? How long are you getting in? So just, almost trying to mimic it, but everybody's body is different. So just, trying to take things from them and just apply it to my routine.
Payton, I got to ask you, when you're a young guy growing up, you got aspirations for the NFL. Who were some of the linebackers that you looked at while you were growing up as a young buck?
Yeah, well, I mean, personally for me, being from North Carolina, coming up through middle school and high school, it's pretty much all Luke Kuechly. Just the way that, he played the game, how fearless and ferocious he was, and then, also how smart he was. I think that he embodied, what a linebacker was supposed to be. And, being from North Carolina, that's just kind of who I idolized. And, I think he was almost a perfect mold for a linebacker between athleticism, physicality, and smartness.
The last thing I got for you, Payton, is just the fact that you mentioned Luke Kuechly. One of the things I noticed about you is you bring a lot of bang in a short amount of distance. It doesn't take you long to get your bang on. I mean, you really bring some intensity. I'm enjoying it. Is that a natural thing for you? Is that part of your game?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from wrestling. That intensity that I started wrestling when I was 4 years old. So that intensity that you have to bring with wrestling, it's a different mentality. I tell people all the time, in football, if you mess up, you have 10 people to help you. In wrestling, if you mess up, you're going on your noggin. So that's kind of the way I was raised, the way my father raised me. And, when I hit you, I want you to feel it. And it's nothing personal, but that's just who I am. That's how I'm going to play the game.
Speaking of wrestling, Keanu Benton, we talked to him during OTAs. He said for all the wrestlers on the team, he thinks he'd beat everybody. True or false?
I think there's only one person on this team that can even come close, and that's Zach Frazier.
Okay. Yeah, he has a pretty good track record.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not one of those guys that's just good at wrestling because I'm strong and fast. I really wrestle. So if they want to put a wrestling mat out, we can find out one day.
All right. Well, maybe that's something you guys can work out in the offseason. We're going to keep everybody healthy. First preseason game next Friday. Payton, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
All right, that was rookie Payton Wilson, and really enjoy when we get a chance to do these post-practice interviews, especially when it's guys that maybe we don't know as much about or we're getting to know is probably the proper way to say it. But just I think Payton's personality, the way that he carries himself, and just how physically demanding it is to play his position and how much he just embraces it and loves it. And you saw it last night at Friday Night Lights.
That's exactly the point, what you said, embraces it. He really embraces the moment. He embraces the intensity. He embraces the hard-hitting aspects of the game. And you got to love that in a linebacker because you want to feed them red meat. Go on out, get there. Get yourself some. That's what it's all about. And it just oozes out of this young man, and I love there's a sense of humility and respect, and yet there's also that voracious appetite to get in there and mix it up and be part of that. And I really love what he's presented thus far. He's really making a fine statement for himself. I look forward to more.
And, for Payton and the rest of the rookies and younger players, really a chance today to get a lot of reps. There were a number of veterans who did not practice today. Vets days off. As we said earlier, you see Isaac Seumalo in the bucket hat. You know what that means for him today. But he's still out there helping and teaching. And no pads today after the Friday Night Lights. So you have to assume tomorrow, Sunday, the pads have to go on before a day off, right?
Absolutely. And
got to get ready.
There's no question about it. Look, you know what's coming next week. Next week is game week, and that's the second point of interest for a guy in camp. You pointed to Friday Night Lights. Now it's going to be your first preseason game. For a young guy like Payton, that's an opportunity to really groove and get some reps out there, put it on tape, see where you're at. For all the other guys, today being off was – well, for a lot of guys, they had off, but the guys that were out there working, it was a good way to shake off last night because it's, moving through a lot of the mistakes, correcting, that sort of thing, and also just getting out there and greasing the body because last night was a good, hard, physical culmination to a first work week, and I just think that these guys, they earned the day off a little bit without pads. Much as, the old guy in me says, put them in pads.
Put them on. Yeah, make it hurt.
There you go. Make it hurt.
Well, love that so many fans, Steelers Nation, still here. It was such a bizarre weather day today. Yes. Fans were asked to leave and go back to their cars. Then they came back. We saw rain. There was lightning in the area. The sun came out. It drizzled again. It's just been one of those days. But certainly, some of the elements that sometimes you have to play in. And as you said, we're getting closer to that first preseason game. So do you think their eye is starting to turn to that? Or is it, hey, get to that off day first, and then maybe we start thinking about going against another team?
Young guys are eyeing next week. vets, they're saying, no, we'll get to the day off, and then we'll worry about the game or start to fixate on the game coming up. That's essentially how it works. I remember my first day, we were playing the New York Giants in New York, and I mean, you could see that thing coming from a mile off. Well, it was like we were here for a long time anyhow. But regardless, you know it's coming, and you just point to it because you're so excited. It's your first time stepping into that proverbial NFL stadium. It's the first time where the culmination for a lot of these guys is a lifelong drive to be in the NFL. Here it is. It's in front of you. Now go out and take it. You got to grab that ring.
As we said, a number of vets getting the day off today during practice, no pads on. But, Wolf, was there anything that you took note of as you were watching today?
Not really, other than the fact that guys were just kind of greasing their groove. You know what I mean? There wasn't anything spectacular other than – well, I will say one thing. They did work more on some screens than I'd seen them in the past few days. Running back screens, and we've got some wide receiver screens and other formational screens that they were doing, whether it's throwing to the formation or away from it. But it certainly is, to me, I think the screen game is big, Missy. I think that's one of the elements that we really need to expand upon this year, and I certainly believe Arthur Smith is one of those guys that loves the screen game, because when you got a good ground and pound, you got good play action, you throw over the middle, which they're throwing over the middle, by golly, screen games really do help and create a lot of mess for the defense.
There you see Russell Wilson signing for fans that are down there. Was also with one of the community groups that was here to attend Steelers practice today. We did see number 76, Troy Fatano, out there signing as well. But we also saw him running a lap today for a false start. So minimizing these pre-snap penalties and mental mistakes, this is still something that Arthur Smith is harping on.
Well, he's got to, because let's face it, Ron Earhart used to just blow up over the fact that a guy would jump off sides, and how it almost was a personal affront to him. How dare you jump off sides and endanger this team, this offense, and take away any chance for a possible Super Bowl run? I mean, and you're like, well, okay, you know what I mean? He was like zinging into the guys. But the thing is, that's how important it is, because those pre-snap penalties are drive killers, absolute drive killers. So you've got to make sure that you are conditioned, ready, and focused, and able to maintain that, and that's part of your conditioning, maintaining mental focus throughout the game, throughout the practice.
Other than the offensive line, because I know that would be your answer, what unit are you most excited to see, or position group, in that first preseason game?
I think one of the things is the tight end group. The tight end room, I know it's offensive line, kind of, but the point is there's a lot of talent in that offensive line room, and certainly I got to think that the aspect of being able to have Freiermuth, having Darnell Washington, Michael Pruitt, and Connor Hayward, and Connor's in and out of that tight end room, what they can do with the multiple formations and so forth, I think are really going to be enjoyable and an important aspect of this offense. And then, again, of course, it's going to be the slot corners with Beanie Bishop, Graylin Arnold, and the rest of the people there. Who's going to do the job? Who's going to compete there? But I think the Beanster has shown pretty good for himself.
All right, well, the good thing is the Steelers will put the pads on hopefully tomorrow, the last practice before their day off. Then they'll be getting ready for that first preseason game. It seems crazy, but we're getting there. We're midway through camp, kind of.
Midway kind of through camp.
Yeah.
I'll take midway, period. Don't worry. Let's not go kind of, just midway. Don't worry about it. We're getting it done.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, and thanks to Payton Wilson for joining us. You have been watching the Training Camp Wrap-Up Show presented by the UPMC Health Plan. Practice tomorrow at 1:55. You can join Max, and Mike. Woo! Too many M's for the Training Camp Live Show. We'll see everybody here tomorrow.